I do want to just introduce Tony, because I only think it's fair to give him some, by the way, it was so nice to see the change that occurred there. I think it's just having the life and knowing that there's hummingbirds coming in, and that's exceptional. Now I've got some. Right. Anyway, Tony, Tesoro High School in the fall of 2014, you had a bunch of weeds, huh? So you decided to do something about it, and your goal wasn't just to increase biodiversity, but you really wanted to educate others about the value and importance of native plants. So that's like perfect. I heard Tony at Tree of Life one year, and he was very self-confident, knew what he was talking about, and nuts and bolts, no nonsense, and he was helping other people learn about native plants who were talking about doing school gardens. So I thought that was great. It was during the ambassadors program. So he's a biology and environmental field studies teacher and faculty advisor for the ecology club there at Tesoro High School. And he loves to get as many people involved in the restoration efforts there as you can. So he'll probably try to get you if you live anywhere near there or have an interest. And you should go by and see it, but you're going to get a taste of it tonight. Tony, let's welcome him.
I don't always do everything by the book, so I want to give a shout out to the Tesoro students. Stand up, guys. Stand up. This is gonna. I've got an Instagram site there for class photos. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go. I don't have a sign-in sheet, so I had to take a selfie. Thanks for coming, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you might not do it.
I have a very, very loud voice. I call it my coach's voice. Do I need a microphone in the back? I'll use it if I need it. Do I need it?
The big thing is whether the people. on
Oh,
Zoom-
okay. So I'll use it. It's not a problem.
If he works better, we found out. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, this is the bottom, right? You have to point it at something.
Point it this way.
Okay. All right. So this is what our area looked like about 9 years ago. I used to, little quick bit of history. I used to teach a wildlife of the world class in natural history of California, along with biology. I still teach biology. I've taught it for ages. And then just before we started this, they took it out of the program, unfortunately. But when we did have that program, we would walk outside all the time and try to study, I say try to study the biodiversity or lack of biodiversity, because our school is surrounded by mainly weeds and grasses, mustards and artichoke thistle and non-native grasses. They took that out of the program, unfortunately. So then I got my biology students involved. And you'll see what their efforts did, and also the ecology club. And now I have a brand new class, field studies, environmental field studies. So we're getting them involved as well. So a lot of students are out there helping, community members, scouts. I have over 200 slides. So I did a practice run every 5 to 6 seconds. I'm going to be switching the slides so you can get through them all. I try not to get off on any tangents. My students know I'm really good at that, but I'm going to try. So yeah. Oh yeah, I need to point it that way. That's right. Okay. All right. Okay, so yeah, there was the before here, and there's a kind of a bird's eye view. That's just right next to Los Patrones Parkway, that new road that went in South County. Obviously, you can see the football field there and the gymnasium in the background. So we thought, let's see what we could do. Okay, we lack the biodiversity. Let's see what we can do to this kind of blank slate there. So we carved out some paths, and then we got the students out there. That's a mass of artichoke thistle right there. We get some pretty good crews. You know, we'll get anywhere from 2 to 50, depending on the day and the event. But that's a good group right there. Okay, shovels in hand. There's our go-to Tree of Life nursery, is where we get our native plants from. They rock. They're about a stone's throw away, so that's one of my favorite days of the year is when I go pick up the plants, that drive home. There's nothing like the scent of the plants. So that looks like about 5 times 10, 12, 50 to 60 is a typical planting for us. In fact, we were the recipients of the Acorn grant recently, and we have our first planting using those funds. Thank you, California Native Plant Society. We cleared an area, and we're going to dig the holes during the break, Thanksgiving break, fall break, and then we'll plant right after fall break. 50 plants. We traditionally have the planting leaders that take charge. This is my youngest son, Robert. I have 4 children, 3 boys and a girl. He's now in 9th grade. He's a freshman at Tesoro. So he was involved. Yeah, we get some good work crews out there. So we have a lot to draw from. I do have this project in both my classes. It's called the HIP project, Human Impact Project. And they have to do something that's positive for our environment, that's going to help increase biodiversity, and help our environment in some way, shape, or form. Some of them go to RSM Zero Trash Day and help that way. They pick up trash, but a lot of it's tied to our garden areas. There's my son Trent, my oldest son, and my daughter. Middle schoolers were helping out this day. So this is our first attempt. This is not our first attempt at a basin. You'll see some more later that we evolved. We got a little better, a lot better, but you'll see the evolution in our planting. But yeah, this is so devoid of biodiversity, and you know, that's a pretty big jump. That's probably looking at that's probably a 4 to 6 month passing, and we eventually cleared the whole area and started making paths. How do we water? I have about 600 feet of hose on both sides of the school. One of them I tap into a spigot that the custodians made in the dark of night so they could water their Nepalese cactus and their peach tree that they put on the other side of the school. We'll get to that in a second. And in this area here, I tap into the snack bar. So that's how we water. About 600 feet of hose. You can see I didn't have a sprayer on the end that day. I don't think I've learned, and now we do, so we don't waste that water. But that sycamore is doing very well right now. We'll see it in a little bit. We're always doing something out there. We've always got projects, decomposed granite for the trails. At one time, I tried mulch, wasn't very successful. I didn't like it. I do weed whack from time to time to get the invasives. We do hand pull. We have weed warrior days where the kids get out and they'll pull weeds, especially last year with the yellow scar thistle. Ooh. Yeah, I heard it groan in the crowd. This was the only native cluster right there, the buckwheat and the prickly pear next to it. That was the only native plants out there in this area. This area was mitigated when the school was built. The creek, the Tesoro Creek right there was mitigated with some cottonwoods, mule fat, willows. So that was there. But yeah, you saw the blank slate. We get the teams involved and groups, clubs in school involved in this case, it was hole digging. I think this is the second round out there. You can see the plant, coyote brush behind him. So that's a couple of years in, actually, looking at the height of the plant. San Miguel Mountain Sage. This is in the springtime when we had some rain through the fall and winter. Signage right there, the students made. So you can see the evolution of the plant community. This I took off of Google Maps just recently, so you can see it. It's kind of blurry, but it's pinned there, and that's where we started. That area up at the top. Oh, there's a laser on here. This is the area we started, and then we worked our way down here. We call this our riparian trail. And then this is the largest lemonade berry I've ever seen. It's probably 20, I know there's larger ones out there, but 20 feet high and 25 feet wide. It's huge. That's the end of our property. Right there. So this whole area is being restored. So that's our California native plant garden right there. And these are recent photos. So you can see it flourishing. This sign was due in part to the California Native Plant Society. In fact, Noir, raise your hand. Noir was involved with designing these signs. We used the application Canva to make these signs. We worked on it all of last year, and this is our welcome sign to the garden. And then we have 10 smaller signs that you'll see here in a second. So we have some good signage out there, thanks in part to Grant. So yeah, these are recent photos. You can see it flourishing. So the biodiversity out there right now, as you can imagine, is just incredible, just off the charts. We do have the field studies class involved with that. Right now, we're working with quadrats versus native areas versus non-native areas and documenting that. We also have a project on iNaturalist, documenting the organisms that we see out there. So we're getting them involved with that, IDing species and whatnot. There's some students, in fact, Phoenix, there you are, Phoenix is here, and there's Phoenix right there working in the garden, doing some work out there for field studies. We've got the bridge there, we've got the signage, we've got some stairs, we'll get into the projects later, but we have probably scouts like to come out, Eagle Scouts like to come out and do their projects. We have 60 so far Eagle Scout projects in the last 9 years out in our gardens. Yeah, so we have the scout community involved. There's a split rail fence. The principal said, hey, Tony, can you put one project at the top of your list? I have a list that I give to all the scouts that ask. Okay, here's the list. Pick a couple of your favorites and we'll talk about it. He said, can you put a split rail fence, but we want it around the e-bike area. We have there's hundreds, wouldn't you guys agree, hundreds of e-bikes in front of our school? That's the new thing, right? The kids rolling in on e-bikes. He wants a split rail fence to kind of cordon off that area. So that made it to the top of the list. You do what the principal tells you to do. So, so now we're going to transition to the other side of the school. I know it's rare to have this much land, but hopefully some of these ideas as I go through this, like I said, over 200 slides, maybe you just get a couple ideas. Hey, maybe we'll try that, or that looks neat. Maybe I'll ask him about that in the question session. Kind of like the last week, I went down to San Diego, 2-day conference, and I got a couple little nuggets. Okay, so hopefully you get a couple little nuggets out of this that can make a difference in your garden. But this is our nature trail area. We got a grant to receive a drone. We use the drone for that picture. This one's off Google Maps because the area is a little bit more mature, just a little different look there. So this is what it started out as. This coyote brush right there, that was the only native plant out there in this area. I'm going to estimate it's about 1.5 acres. This is one of our first projects, the benches. There's a crew that's going out to help. Oh yeah, those are fun days, or were fun days. We don't have the problem anymore because just repetitive knocking them down and then planting the natives. But that's what it was 9 years ago, all that artichoke thistle. So this was our first garden on that side, the nature trail area, we call it. It's a pollinator garden. We got the feeder school students, Las Flores Middle School from down the street. They came out and helped. And we typically buy the gallon plants from Tree of Life. Mike Evans is great there. Everyone's great there. Laura and Jeff and everyone. Mike came out to talk to our field studies class. There's a couple pictures of them in here a few weeks back. So this is our pollinator garden. We did a path. We like to line them with rocks and use the decomposed granite. We made this little sign for the pollinator garden. We did kind of a part 2. This is our part 1 from the feeder school students, and this was biology students. You see these signs here. You'll see some up close later. That was a neat little project. to identify our plants. Oh, if you didn't catch the hill, we're right up against Rancho Mission Viejo property. So this is Rancho Mission Viejo. We have about 30 feet up the hill, and it is our property line. So you'll see some photos later with the distinction between that. We have a California Indian garden with 30 different plants that have various uses for indigenous people. This was our clearing of the Indian garden. So you can see that there in the background. That's what we cleared to make room for the plants. The field studies crew right now, they're designing the garden that we're going to where we're going to plant the plants that we're using the Acorn grant for. They're designing right now as we speak, working on it this week. We got boys lacrosse involved. The students are out there all the time helping us out, so we got a little bit better with the basins. And we have the nozzle on the ends. We're not wasting water. We tried a little double basin. Great videos. Tree of Life Nursery has great videos on how to plant. My son Jack and my daughter Casey and my son Trent there helping out. Family affair. Again, tried mulch, so we've gotten away from that. The mulch, pollinator garden, California Indian garden, and then we have some others. This is the medicinal garden that a scout did. And he put some signs in with QR codes, so that was a neat feature. So you can take a photo, obviously, get some information of the plants. There's the trails being established. That was a scout project on the berm. Not easy to do, as some of you know, if you've ever tried to plant on a hillside, not easy. And even though this area was disturbed when they built the school, there were a lot of tractors, backhoes, etc. back there. So the soil is very disturbed, but there's a lot of clay back there too. So we use our rock bars frequently. And there's a sage garden in the middle there of the nature trail. Great smell, obviously, after it rains and through the spring. This was the pathway. We just decided, why don't we plant some more sages and join the two? So we have the benches out there. Students go out and work out there. Science is out there all the time, but all the disciplines use it. English is out there, drama department, choir's been out there. Of course, I see everybody on film because we have wildlife cameras. So when the class goes out there, you can, along with the coyotes and the mule deer and skunks, you can see who's using the gardens. But the Spanish uses it, and just about every discipline goes out there and uses either side, the nature trail or the California native plant garden. And I know we're really lucky to have this area. There's a recent photo, walked up to the top there, and that's very, very recent. That's one of the new structures that a scout built. We're going to design and plant some plants around the shade structure. That's not in process yet. We're going to focus on the area the field studies crew is going to do. This looks like it's in the spring, probably last year. Here's the entrance to our nature trail. Usually the gate's open. Sometimes I lock it. Just depends on what shenanigans have gone on back there. Yeah, so I keep an eye on that. That's one of our very first projects there oh, I told you that before, the benches, and then we have a stage now. So that's what we call our outdoor amphitheater. And a lot of classes use that area. It seats 40. Interesting thing about that is he had the design, everything is perfect in the design, and then he built it, and I had to leave that day, and I came back the next day, and 6 of those 8 benches were all like, and the department chair and myself, we talked, can we live with this for like the next 10, 15 years? We're like, no. So we have to have that conversation. He had to come out and fix 8 of them. And he took an auger and dug huge holes and put a lot of quickcrete down there, but yeah, but he was gracious. They came back and fixed it. So these, again, recent photos, so you can see how well the plants are doing. Okay, projects, we'll rip through here pretty quickly. This is a memorial garden. We had someone from the office say, hey, you know, we had our attendance clerk for many, many years pass away. Can you plant a tree for Kim? And I was gonna do it in the nature trail, but sometimes we lock it, I want to be visible. And I thought, oh, she loved football. She and her husband would go to football games. And when you park, you walk down Tesoro Creek Road to go to the football stadium. I thought, oh, this is a great place to start a memorial garden. So we planted a tree for her, and we now have 5 plants back there for people that have passed away at the school. So I'll show you that. There's a pine tree for our longtime custodian, Al Soto, and our decomposed granite path. And that's what it looks like. This is a little more recent photo. That barbed wire fence, that's Rancho Mission Viejo property on the other side there. So we try to maximize our property as much as we can. This is the south-facing slope. There's twice we've had, oh gosh, I haven't been counting the plantings we've had. Dozens upon dozens upon dozens of plantings. We've had 2 where they went to an outside source, not Tree of Life Nursery. They went to Shade Tree Nursery near UCI. And there's a little application process, and they got plants donated to them from Shade Tree Nursery, native plants. Definitely not in the great condition. I don't knock Shade Tree, they're awesome. But the plants we get from Tree of Life, of course, are in excellent condition. The vast majority have survived. We have a really, really high survival rate. Up there in the 80 to 90% range on plants. And the culprits, most of the time, are critters, especially the burrowing sort. So this is the south-facing slope. This is the north-facing slope. I think I have a couple shots later. It's still a work in progress. This is very recent, so you see how much we have yet to do. I'm about, let's see, I'm 58. And I have a freshman, so I'm gonna see him through high school. We'll see what his college plans are, but I might have to get ready to pass the baton on to somebody. Of course, they want me to stay. Don't you want to stay and just teach a couple periods and still take care of the gardens? Maybe, we'll see. We'll see where I end up. We live a stone's throw away, blessing and a curse. I live like a mile and a half from the school. There's a coyote, that's what it looked like before. Okay, weeds and the artichoke thistle. And then we had 2 scalps go in there and plant. There's some plantings that occurred in January, March, and May. A couple months apart from each other. Biology students and the ecology club helped with this area. So first we clear the area, then we dig the holes, then we fill them up with water, right? Water in the bank. And then we plant the plants. And these guys will be helping out on the next planting. Aren't you guys excited? Yeah, look at this. Lawrence, yeah. So we've got this down to a science. Intended. Okay. Little signage. There's from the grant there, we have some individual signs. We have a pond on the nature trail side. Okay, a bridge and some stairs, West Coast sand and gravel for all your decomposed granite needs. And then we have a pond on the other side. It only fills up, the vernal pond is just when it rains, it fills up. So a kiosk, wildlife cameras. We have a scout put 8 posts in on either side, the nature trail side and the California plant garden, so we can switch the cameras around. We don't have 16 cameras. We have 4, and we switch them around. Sign by the stage. This is a cool picture here. So a little chalkboard on the entrance. We've got a fence there to delineate the border between Rancho Mission Viejo and Tesoro. We were involved with the garden tour in 2017. We had a 3rd grade group come one year. We're now designing lessons in the field studies class for kindergarten through 8th grade. And we want to put together a program where we have them come They could be during school, but we were thinking after school, and the students can lead them around the gardens and study the area, the biodiversity and plants and animals. So there's some of the kids doing lab activities. There's Mike Evans from Tree of Life. Came out, like I said, a couple weeks ago. That was a choir class out there. Ecology Club rocks, by the way. We take class photos out in the amphitheater. Service hours, there's my son doing some service hours out there. Oh, the BC made it. So today I was thinking, wait, the presentation's challenges and successes, and we've had mainly successes, to be honest, a few challenges, but it's like, oh yeah, I got stung by bees. That's a challenge.
That's you.
This was me about 3 months ago, like 2 days before we left for a family trip to Mexico. And I didn't know I was allergic. I got 4 of them, 2 under the eyes and 1 on each side. They got me. But yeah, the guy had to do a double take at we went through the border crossing to do yeah. So fun time. So that's a challenge. Bees. And now I carry 2 EpiPens. I have 2 EpiPens. I'm a proud owner of 2 EpiPens. But I did get stung about 2 months ago on the arm. It swelled up, but I didn't have that. Other than that, I was okay. Here's I'll give you the Instagram side. I post a lot of these nature photos. I'm starting to get the students involved with taking photos, especially with the iNaturalist. I'm trying to get a grant for some little clip-on. I have a little clip-on lens for the macro shots that I use. My wife bought it, relatively inexpensive. I just clip it on my phone. That's how I get the macro shots like that. So I ordered, I'm trying to get a grant for like 10 of them, so the students can use those when they take their shots for iNaturalist. So this is the last little segment here, the nature photos. We've done a couple books, like just through the Shutterfly. We sell them for like a fundraiser to try to earn some money to buy some more plants. We recycle after football games to earn money to buy plants. So yeah, I'll probably put something out there as far as our photo. Oh yeah, that was very cool. I heard ooh, ah, yeah.
Man, that's a good. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, yes.
So I'll give you the Instagram site. All these photos are somewhere on the Instagram page. I just have kind of a run-of-the-mill camera. I bought one for my oldest son when he went off to college, package deal at Costco, and it's such a great deal that I bought one too. And then I bought this like 15-pound big lens, so I didn't scare the birds away. I could stay back and still take bird photos. It's a good workout, but yeah, we'll finish here. Tree tobacco.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thanks to all the students. Thanks to all the students. They do most of it. Yeah. And thank you for inviting us. Appreciate it.
We have time for questions.
Well,
I was curious what your problem with the mulch was.
Weed whacking. I do a lot of weed whacking. I know there's pros and cons, but we have such a vast area. And a lot of times, I mean, the kids are involved. They're out there all the time and they have their hours, the hip hours. But there's one of me and so it was, I think the weed whacking and just the wood chips like going everywhere. And the maintenance of the berms every now and then, especially with the new plantings, I'd have to fix the basins after a few waterings. I usually take care of the plants for 4 months is like the general rule, once a week for a couple months, and then once every 2 weeks for the next 2 months, and then it's hands off. And they just thrive on And I've gotten plants through the summer, like sorry. Scouts plant when scouts do their project when it's good for the scout, not good for the, right? So they'll plant in May. And I get them through, it's therapeutic for me, it's my zen time when I water. So I don't mind doing it. I did try before to have the students come out and water and take, it wasn't the best. I don't know, something about, yeah, it wasn't, so I don't mind doing it. I coached baseball for a long time. I'd water baseball fields and that was zen time for me, but watering out there. So I take care of plants, especially through the summer. Once a week for 2 months and then once every 2 weeks for the next 2 months. And then I let them go and you can see how well they're doing. So that's my technique.
The EG you put down, do you guys use stabilizer or not?
No.
Just because it's more expensive and.
Yeah, again, it's like, I've got a list that like that in a certain amount of time. Right, and I want to be efficient, so I know there's other ways, I mean, put the cardboard down, etc. But yeah. I've got, the classes I'm involved with, the family at home. I got 8 in my house right now. Fun times in the Tubbs household. I have to, you gotta, if you're a grandfather, you gotta, so our grandson came along about 3 weeks ago, so I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, so we've got a full household, so I've got that part too. So efficiency for me is key. Like when I go out and water, 60 minutes tops, and then I gotta get home and, yeah.
In my container plants, have you used seed mixes?
We haven't, okay, so this brand new field studies class, I did get some seeds and we're experimenting with planting seeds, germinating seeds and growing plants. We've started that this year with this class. So this is our first endeavor with seeds. So no, historically we haven't used seed mixes, but I'm buying into trying to start some plants from seed, yes.
Landscape plan. Who decided whose plans?
Sometimes the students do, scouts, when a scout has, a lot of these are scout projects, so I give them free reign. I might give them a list of plants that early on we used to go with some more exotic plants that you'd see in other areas, but I've narrowed it down to give them a list that they choose from of plants that do well in our soil, in our area. And so they'll pick the plants and they'll design it. The scouts, that's the scouts. And these guys are designing our next planting. I've designed some, but usually it's the scouts. And then now we're getting field studies involved.
Who chose the plants on the berm?
The scout did from the list that I gave him.
Was there a particular rationale for what he or she used?
No, just the historic, like just opposite it is not as steep of a slope, but there's a slope and the National Honor Society plants some plants out there and they did very well. So those plants were on the palette as well. No, to be honest, it wasn't like, we didn't take erosion, we didn't factor that into his decision. It was mainly the plants that did well in that area as opposed to erosion control, because we don't really have, I don't know what it is about that area, but we don't have erosion problems in that area. Maybe because it's such a short hill. Yeah, if it was more massive, maybe we would, but.
I wonder if one of the couple of students would be interested in telling us why they're interested in sort of planning. Why do you take these classes and what do you like about these gardens?
Ooh, I can pass the mic along to a student? Yeah. Okay, guys. I see. They're good at looking me in the eye because they know if they avoid eye contact, they're going to be chosen. I think we're going to go around this. Take Katie, then Charlotte.
Okay, hi, my name is Nawar. I am the vice president of the Ecology Club. I was really scared I was gonna have to speak in front of people, so I did prepare a mini speech. In my head on the drive here, I was like thinking, oh God, what if he tells me to speak? So I prepared, yeah, prepared a mini speech. Basically, our president is unfortunately not here today. They have work. But I worked with creating oh God, I'm being filmed.
Oh, no, just a quick photo. No one has to see it if you don't want to.
No, I don't care.
Okay.
But, I initially didn't, like many people, I had a certain interest in the environment, but it wasn't super defined. It wasn't super refined or anything like that. I was just like, oh yeah, I care about the environment and I don't think it's good that things are dying and not doing well, but I didn't know much. And I had friends who were running the ecology club and I was like, okay, I'll join. And I found myself going to the meetings and learning more and more about the environment than I could have ever anticipated. And I was surprised by how interested and fascinated I was by the entire topic. And I worked hours on designing, drawing, creating those signs, and I've become so invested and attached to the nature trail and the native plant garden because I've been in it and I've been working with it for so long. And I think part of the fascination is being so close to it, working in it, and spending so much time with it. You begin to grow a sort of bond with the certain plants and the certain things that you discover within the environment. And if you take a closer look, you can discover a lot of really beautiful things that you never would have noticed if you haven't just taken a moment and been like, hey, what's under this leaf? So yeah.
Tony, did you write that for her?
Hi, I'm Katie. Me and my mom are the plant and the insect nerds in our family. We've always been taking pictures of bugs or looking up things or planting gardens. Just last summer, we released 90 monarchs that we grew from little eggs, and we like put their eggs in like very little bleach and water to make sure that it killed its fly. So we're really weird about people who love it. And then last year, my junior year, I'm currently a senior, I took AP environmental science class with myself at Tesoro. And it really just opened up my eyes to a lot of the issues that were going on in the world that you don't really notice. No one really talks about them. And it's really sad that no one talks about them because there is so many things that we can start doing and that are really easy to do, but no one knows about them. So I just, from that experience in that class of just learning every day what I could do, what plants were working and how to properly farm or what not to do, I just really had a love for it. And so I'm proud to say that I applied for my college's for environmental science majors because I want to bring back the native species planet. I want to bring back the areas that were damaged either from human or nature and just bring it all back because from a young age, I didn't realize it until months ago, but from a young age, I love little plants and creatures, and I love them. I had a pet snail named Carl for 6 months, and then he was safely placed back into nature because he freaked my dad out because he got out one night. But he's fine. Carl happily living somewhere else. But you never really know how much you love nature until you're put in a situation where you understand that it's at risk. And then once you realize the risk that it's at, you realize how much you love it and you want to save it. And so that's where I just kind of took off with that. Hi, I'm Carly. I'm also a senior. And then just like Katie, I'm applying for environmental studies majors for all of my colleges because after like spending a lot of time at the beach past 3 summers, I found love for nature and like protecting our animals and sea creatures mostly is like my thing. But then I also took AP environmental science with Flores, and it really like opened my eyes to all of the different parts, not just like what's in the ocean, because everyone says, oh, like the Great Pacific Garbage Patch or whatever, like ocean related things. And then after taking this class, I started to realize like how more broad it is and like how each little thing affects everything. Like the Los Patrones Parkway, they like cleared out like so much biodiversity to put that road in there. And I would like
to be on the side of like the more policy and like, law side of it, so, yeah.
When he gets there.
You showed them, you're planting a sycamore, and then later, there was a great big sycamore tree. Was that your little sycamore that grew big? That's amazing.
Yeah, it's doing well.
Very
Yeah.
well.
I just, first of all, I want to thank you, Tony, for bringing your students, because that was the highlight of your presentation. And Stacy, she did such a great job too, and it's so, you know, when Elizabeth Wallace arranged this, I thought it was gonna be a great idea, but I didn't know it was gonna turn out to be this good. It's very inspiring to see this done, and especially when you have a small part in it. And I think that's what the students are saying as well, they're part in it, which makes them invested in it. And it's the type of thing that later in life, it's already happening as they move into college, it affects what they're gonna be doing. That's very good. That's great. So that's it, right? So we're ready to go. Thanks everyone for coming, and another round of applause for Tony and Stacy for